Hi, Homeworthy. I am Deb, and this is the Mountain Chateau here in Pennsylvania. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
I'm Deb Foglia. I am a home decor blogger and entrepreneur. My blog is Seeking Lavender Lane, and I also own a vintage marketplace called Vintage Keepers. We are in our new old home called the Mountain Chateau, and it is in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So we have been here in the Mountain Chateau for about 8 months now, a little less than a year. And we believe the house was built in 1917. We're still trying to discover a little bit of the history about it. So we bought this house from a couple who lived here for 40 years. And the house needed a lot of work, but it had such a beautiful original character that we just fell in love with it. We think the home, we're kind of calling it like a stone Tudor. I'm not exactly sure. And it just has a lot of like Victorian influence, but also kind of Tudor influence as well. So that's why we kind of call it the Mountain Chateau. I think when it comes to my personal style, I know most of the people in my life know I decorate with vintage and antiques. It's just something that I'm drawn to. I think a lot of that happened from just trying to decorate on a tight budget all these years. And so I just started shopping flea markets and antique shops and Facebook Marketplace. And so a lot of that has created my style. And I think for the most part, people know that I am so drawn to anything French. I also love an Italian influence. I come from an Italian family, and so it's a lot of that has influenced my style and my design. All right, so we are in my entryway. This is the first room that we saw when we looked at the house over a year ago, and it just took my breath away. I loved the beautiful stairs here. Just the detail of the ironwork is just so beautiful, and the original wood. I just fell absolutely in love with it. So I didn't have like a very big entryway in the last two houses that we lived in, and so not that this is really big, but it just was so exciting that I'd be able to actually decorate an entryway. So we put this table here, which I bought from a local barn sale. And you know, it just has certain things that I just love. A book that I had read a couple years ago talked about how the French love to style their entryways with things that kind of introduce you to the family. And so I wouldn't say necessarily this is introducing you to my family, but you can see things like the statue of David, which kind of shows you the Italian influence in my life. And then I love stacking things on books. I just love that aesthetic so much, and creating vignettes probably more than most people do. And so here we have, this is actually a picture of my Nonna. She left this earth a few years ago, and she is just such an inspiration to me. She came from Italy and moved here in her 40s and started a new life here with starting her own creative business as a seamstress, and she's just a very special woman. So she is here in my entryway, and then you know, we just have, like I said, some books. This is a candle. I also make candles. It's another part of the many things I do in life, and so I have one of my candles burning here. And I think one of the coolest things about this house is this phone niche. And I haven't quite figured out what I want to do with it. So I just left the phone that the previous owners had left here. I don't know if it's the original phone from the house, but this phone niche is just so cool. And I just love that it has that like original character here. Over here we have this new vintage rug that I just added here, and I feel like it just makes the space. It brings a lot of those warm tones in here, which I think complement the wood in the stairs really, really well. And I just love this door so much. And the original leaded glass here is just such a nice original feature. So this space is, I try to keep it as simple as possible because you're coming in and out. But a couple of the details that I added was just doing these doors in this dark charcoal color. And I think it just kind of pulls in all the blacks and the iron rails and things like that. Another favorite piece is this light fixture. And this I found at Brimfield last year. And so we had already closed on this house, but we hadn't moved in yet. And so I started collecting things for this new home. And this was immediately caught my attention. I bought it for like $100. I believe it came from an old church, and I just love the warmth that it brings, and it just looks like it's always been here. So it's one of my favorite things. Another favorite, which is actually off right now, so it's not chiming while we're filming, but is this clock. It's not super old. I bought it on Facebook Marketplace also right before we moved, and it was like one of those things that that's perfect for our Mountain Chateau. I love that it chimes. It's those little sounds and noises and smells and things like that that I just love in a home. One of the other things that we hear here is the train whistle in town. And so between the train whistle and the chiming of the clock, it just makes the home so much more magical. On this side, where our stairs are, we just added this new stair runner, which I just love. I think just the texture and then also the safety of having a runner is great. But one of my favorite color themes is brown and black, and I talk about it all the time on Seeking Lavender Lane. And so having this kind of this neutral brown wool runner and then the black border, just absolutely love. And it ties in so nicely with our gallery wall, which I have been collecting. Again, lots of vintage art, and I just love the tones of all the art pieces. I think when it comes to a gallery wall, it's, picking up on the same tones is a great way to make a successful gallery wall. They don't all have to be the same. Some are prints, some are oil paintings. I love the touch of having something unexpected like a mirror or something that's like three-dimensional is great. And I think it just ties really well with this little dark door. This leads to our pantry and our mudroom area. So I usually keep the door closed. I just like the way it looks better than seeing into it. But one of my favorite new pieces is this mirror right here. And I also got this on Facebook Marketplace, $100, and it's just the perfect finishing touch. I love it. And it's great too, because when you're on your way out the door, to be able to just check yourself real quick before you leave, it's the perfect placement. So when we were on our house hunting journey last year, we had looked at a lot of different homes. I knew I wanted something with old character and all of that, especially moving to Pennsylvania. There's so much of that out here. And this house specifically was just a showstopper in its character, its higher ceilings, this stone exterior, so many of the details that we just really fell in love with. Of course, we looked at it from the aesthetic side and then also just the money side of it. And I will say it has been quite the money pit. So since being here, we closed on the house last April and we started the work around May, moved in July in the middle of the renovation. And a lot of the work that's been done you'll see today, and we have transformed our primary bath. It used to be the sitting room in the primary room, and it's now our bathroom. We changed our dining room to the kitchen, and the kitchen to the laundry room and pantry, and so a lot has been changed in here, including, of course, paint and furniture and all of that. So here's the living room, dining room combo. It was actually the original living room in the house, but since we turned our kitchen into the dining room into the kitchen, it has now become the living room and dining room combo. And so this took me a little time to figure out a good balance of just furniture placement and everything. But one of the pieces that we got, I ordered before we moved in, was this beautiful sofa. I love the warmth of it. This color is just so beautiful. I think it's called cognac. It's just gorgeous. And I actually originally had it against the wall and it drove me crazy for months. And about a month ago, I said, I'm taking it off the wall. We're going to rearrange. And so that's what we did. And I love it this way. It's so comfortable to just sit here, and we have the TV above the mantle. So, and just sitting here and watching TV and relaxing and reading and having my coffee, it's just the best. And so one of the pieces that I think it just goes so well with is this beautiful tapestry. And this has also had a few different homes here so far, and I think this is probably a place to stay. And this gorgeous tapestry, I believe it's 18th century from France, and it was an eBay score. I would say probably one of my bigger splurges in the house. My husband still is very unhappy with this purchase because it cost us a little bit more than most of the things I buy, but I just had to have it. I love the look of tapestries. They are trendy right now, but just the colors in it is just so beautiful. It fills the wall so nicely, and it truly brings that old world character in here that I just absolutely love. So I've been kind of playing around with this space here. Again, we're in the editing stages, so you just never know. Tomorrow it might look totally different. But right now I'm kind of loving the palm here. We have this column back there. This is another Brimfield find, which I just love. I have two of them. The other one's on the other side, but it's these Italian lanterns. I think they're mid-century. They're not insanely old, but they just are just exquisite. They are plugins, which is great. And so it just lights up this corner really, really nicely. And so I just love how that pairs really nice with our tapestry. So this side of this room, I added this runner. I kind of love this. I think it's a great design tip. If you have a space that's kind of empty, you can fill it with a runner rather than a full-size rug. This is vintage, so you know, it's just very unique. I love the colors in it. It goes so well with our entryway rug also. We do, because these are the original floors in the house, which I fell in love with. But they're old, and they do have staining and, you know, things like that. I think when you buy an old home, it's something that you have to just accept. You know, there are going to be imperfections, and I kind of love imperfections, so I just love that. So with an old home, you have old radiators. This has a radiator cover. Believe it or not, we actually use coal in this house. That's how old it is. And I love kind of using this as almost like a tabletop. So I have all of these books and magazines here, and again, creating vignettes with it. These little matches, this is actually a pottery piece that I made in a pottery class I did years ago. But these matches are from a woman. She makes them and sells them on her Instagram. They're called MO matches, and I love those. A little statue, my little head here. I love that. Disco balls are very in right now, and I was a little not not about that trend. And then I said, you know what? Let me buy one. I found it at the flea market, and the light that it just puts on your walls and your ceiling, it's just so beautiful. And so I'm always kind of switching this decor up. Here in the summer, we have beautiful hydrangeas that kind of peek through the windows. They're at that point where it's time to kind of trim them back. This corner, again, another evolving space in our house, but I just recently styled this with this marble bust. This was another great vintage find. I recently got this beautiful mirror here. These plates, so I have a lot of things, and I'll probably talk about them more today, that were my great Uncle Dante's, and these are some of his. They were hand-me-down, and I love that I can see them every day, so I hung them on the wall here. And this little plinth, this we actually DIY'd, so it's a great little DIY project to elevate your busts or your plants or anything like that. So the interior of the house, we haven't quite got to the exterior yet. So the interior of the house, we've added lots of vintage, which is my favorite. I love decorating with anything vintage. I'm always at the flea market, so I find lots of things for like $5. And I think our style is kind of eclectic with European vibes. I love anything English Victorian meets French Chateau. I also love a little touch of rustic. So it's a little bit of all of that. Our previous home was more European farmhouse, which I like to say. And so I had to get a little fancier here. And we've just put elements in here with like our marble and our Italian lantern sconces and a beautiful 18th century tapestry to kind of bring that little bit of that fancy vibe. So onto this side of the room, which has our original fireplace. This, again, another original feature of the home that I just absolutely love. There are things that still need to happen here, which I look forward to sharing down the road, but I believe this is like 1980s tile that they probably added, the previous owners, and I want to eventually update that with some marble or something. But for now, I just kind of hide some of this with this vintage screen. But this was originally, when we moved in, I thought she did a really nice job. She had them in like two tones. It was like a gray and white. And I contemplated leaving that. And then I said, let's just paint it all white. I want the whole room white. And so we did. And it's actually one of my favorite colors. It's the same color as our kitchen cabinets. It's called French Canvas by Benjamin Moore. And it's like my new favorite white. It's just warm and just beautiful. And it just highlights the little details so well. But I also love that it's kind of muted too, that it's all white. So on to what's on top of our fireplace. Now this is our TV. So it's a Samsung frame and we bought a separate frame for it. I love changing the artwork out all the time. So today it's a dog, tomorrow it's ballerinas, the next day it's a landscape or some portrait. So this, I'm kind of feeling the dog right now. And on top of our mantle, you know, again, always switching it up. I try to keep it a little bit more simple year round, really go all out for Christmas with a beautiful garland this past year. But I have this little pheasant statue, some pheasant feathers here, and again, just decorating and mostly vintage. Over here under the window, I think a great way to style a space, especially if you kind of love this eclectic look of just collections and stuff, is I'm a magazine hoarder. And so keeping your magazines out, and I do go back and read them all the time and relook at them, the design books and stuff. And then I just kind of style them with some pieces on top. I love kind of these used paint brushes. It kind of gives this like artistic feel. This is a friend of mine gave me this little guy, and I love it because at nighttime, oh, it's not plugged in. Is it not? No, it's not plugged in. But at nighttime, I light this up, and I love that it just kind of like illuminates the floor here. It brings light into the space in a different way. So be creative with your styling and, you know, consider lamps on the floor. Why not? So over here, we have this cute little bench. This is also vintage. I love that it creates extra seating for in our living room space. And it also kind of fills this here without blocking like the TV or the fireplace too much. And, you know, a lot of the tones in this room you're probably seeing is, you know, mixing that like warmth with cool tones. So this is that like mustard yellow velvet. You know, we had the cognac on the sofa, the colors in the tapestry. So I really love that balance of like warmth and cool, and, you know, and we just kind of create that throughout the whole space. So we have our pillows here that are always changing, but right now they really bring in the warmth and the greens in here. And, you know, this coffee table now kind of goes to the cool tones. And I love how this just goes so well with the tapestry. This is also one of my Uncle Dante pieces. It was in his home, then it was in my home growing up as a child, and then when we moved to our last house, I took it from my parents, and it was actually in our basement, and then I was like, I can't just keep this as a basement table. It has to be in my main living space. And so here it works so nicely. It's a little wonky, it's been loved, but he actually painted this, and so I never thought I'd love a green coffee table, but it's amazing how well it works here. And I wasn't sure if it would be a temporary piece, but it's not. I love it. It's it's got the greens and blues, which pull into the tapestry really nicely. And I love that it's kind of chunky too, so it allows me to really like style it with all my books and accessories. So let me show you a little bit what's on top of our coffee table. I, again, love styling with books and creating vignettes, and I love that this kind of feels like artwork on the table, especially if you're looking from over top. And, I love keeping a art book open. You can see the artwork just on display. And of course, tons of vintage here. I love this little paperweight. This was a fun estate sale find. Again, more matches. And I love anything with pottery. This little lighter, which I thought was so cute. It doesn't work, but it's so cute. And, some tulips. I love having flowers always. I kind of love that they're in this like wilting stage right now. It feels very like architectural and interesting. So just really nice. And then I always have a candle on. This is actually one of my vintage candles that I make here. And I just love how that like pairs so well with all the styling on this table. On this side of the room, again, I've just moved some things around. So this was on the other wall where the tapestry was, and we just moved it here. This was another great Facebook Marketplace find. It's my pine cabinet. I think it brings a little bit of that rustic feel that I also really love in here. And again, just creating lots of collections of pieces. I love a great bust or head. I think it just creates that unexpected feel to a space. I think faces are just something that really elevate a room. So whether it's a portrait or a bust, those are things I'm always drawn to. And so yeah, these are just little things that I love. This piece of art is a favorite vintage find. And, and then these drawers, I love to hide all the things that you don't want to see every day, and they're not exactly organized. On this side of the room is the dining room section, and again, it was the original living room, but it fits the dining room space so well, and it really just allows us to like sit in this room and use it for both, entertaining and eating and sitting and lounging as a family. So again, these are all Facebook Marketplace finds. Great way to just keep things on a low budget. I got these shield back chairs recently. I had looked and looked and looked forever for the perfect chairs, and I just love them, and they're insanely comfortable too. This table, so right now I kind of have it set up like a library style. Again, lots of books, vintage. I love that, but I also love setting it and having it as more of a dining space. So either one, I love how it kind of combines both looks of both library and dining. So back here, this is actually our newest addition, which we worked so hard on this week. So this is the addition. Behind here is our sunroom, and the previous owners did the addition about 20 years ago or so. And I really did not love the look of this window that was here. And so hubby built this out for me, and with a little ledge at top. And so it kind of just creates this division, so we don't get that like light coming through or seeing the other things in the other room. And then I painted this mural. It's like my first time ever painting anything. I just got like a creative, crazy moment and painted this with like a rag and some dryer sheets and using just like leftover paint colors in our house. And I think it creates like a really nice backdrop for this space and really allows us to feel like this is its own personal space without looking onto the sunroom. When it comes to finding your personal style, I feel like definitely give yourself time. I think a lot of it also has to do with the architecture of your home too. So there's a lot of things that will influence that. And I love trend, but I also think that you don't want to get too trendy. So follow trends, because it definitely, it will switch up your your style a little bit. Maybe you're like, oh, I don't know if I'd ever decorate with yellow. Now all of a sudden yellow is very trendy. I tried yellow in my house. You'll see it in a little bit. And I love it now. So I think that you should try the things that are popular and see how it works and follow designers that have a good sense of design. So a few other things that I always kind of go back to and use as just like resources is 100% Pinterest. I love Pinterest. I think Pinterest has a great mix of designers and interior bloggers and so much of that. I always say, create a pin, like especially if you're decorating a new house, create a Pinterest board specifically for everything that you love and just put it all on this one board, and then go back to when you are thinking about designing a new space and go back to that board and kind of see what really feels like your style. And so this way you don't sway too much, because I think sometimes we can be swayed, especially in the world of social media. We're all, just taking in all of these different designs out there. And I think that could be a little overwhelming sometimes. And so, in order to make sure you stay on track with your own taste, keep going back to that design board. It's something I've done for my last 2 houses, and it's really helped me stay on track. And the other thing I love, and you'll see it throughout our house, I love design books. And I think that is a great way to elevate your style, so you could kind of get out of the everyday home to really design like a designer. So over back here, we have this great cabinet, which is also a new addition. I wanted to get a little more whimsy. And so I created these yellow and white stripes, and this is where that little touch of yellow comes in. And, I wanted to try yellow. It's a very trendy color right now. I think it also feels very like English cottage. And so I did this unexpected yellow and white paint stripes on the back here. And I'm calling this kind of my like old money / Italian grandma cabinet with like the Mother Mary and all of that, the old books. So it's kind of a combination of both those styles that I really adore. So over here, I have this portrait. I love decorating with portraits. You'll see quite a bit of them throughout my house. Again, I love anything with a face. I think it just totally elevates a space. This is the female. I also have the male in our kitchen, and I got the 2, I want to say it was like $25 on Facebook Marketplace. It was an insane price. And I don't know if it's original or if it's a print that they kind of like layered this gloss on top to make it look like an original. I actually can't fully tell, but it's a favorite. I love the chunky gold frame with it, and it just fills the space so nice. And it's also has been moved around quite a bit in our house, and right now I'm kind of loving it here. So when it comes to Facebook Marketplace, I think I get that question all the time, is like, well, how do you find such good things? I will say New Jersey's Facebook Marketplace was better than Pennsylvania's so far, but I'm still like learning the area since we've moved out here. But one of the things that I do is I save everything I like. So whether I need it right now or I don't need it right now, I can afford it, I can't afford it, and I save all the things I like, and that has helped the algorithm of Facebook Marketplace just to show up with things that I, that is my style. It's almost like Facebook knows my style now. Another great thing too is just like, really searching specifically. So I'm not sure what I searched for when I found this portrait, but I don't know, but searching for portraits. I mean, I was just on the hunt for dining room chairs forever. So tons of dining room chairs had come up, but it took me a while to find the right ones. So when it comes to hosting, I am a combination of like wanting everything to be like beautiful and present it really well, but I'm also one of those like hosts that's like, yeah, bring a dish, go ahead, we'll just put a buffet out, it'll be great. I like to keep things simple. Being a busy mom, an entrepreneur, I love having people over, and now that we're kind of towards the end of our renovation in this house, I'm so excited to host again and just have family and friends here all the time. But I do love a little bit of a combination of like putting a beautiful cheese board out, but then also having, go get some KFC and put that out. So I'm like a little bit of both, and I appreciate that I have a family that is really amazing cooks. So one of the favorite details to this home is this leaded glass window. I fell in love with this. I think this is kind of what brings that Tudor feel to it, and I just absolutely love it. From the outside, it's beautiful as well, and it took me a little while to figure out, well, what do I want to put here? And I just started putting some plants and spring flowers here, and I just love that they get so much sun out here as well, and it's just one of my favorite features here. So here is the kitchen off of the dining room. That was our original dining room space, and I just thought when we saw this house, if I was gonna buy this house, this had to be the kitchen. It's just in the center of the home. It is a lot bigger than the original kitchen. Of course, when you have older homes, that seems to be the issue, is that smaller kitchens, bigger living spaces. And so with us being in 2024, we wanted a place that we can host and really move around. And it kind of had that modern kitchen, but we also added lots of touches here that makes you think, was this kind of original? One of my favorite pieces to this kitchen is this marble. I love marble. I know a lot of people are very nervous about having marble in their home, especially in their kitchen. And the question I get all the time, does it etch, does it stain? And it does. It's marble. It's not going to be perfect forever, but I think that's one of the things that you have to embrace, is knowing that the imperfections will happen. Marble has been around forever. It's natural. I love anything that's like authentic and natural. And so the fact that this is marble and it's not man-made is just amazing. It is called the Monet Viola, which is almost like you've seen Monet and you've seen Viola. I love that this is kind of a combination of both, because it brings both the Viola, which is a purple veining, and then the Monet is like this, I think they say it's like a dark green. I see black or charcoal, but the veining is just absolutely beautiful. And I love the warmth of this. In our last house, we had Carrara, and I'm a big Carrara fan too. I still love it, but it's definitely a cooler tone stone. It reads a little bit more blue, and I wanted something that felt warm, and I just thought this was the most perfect marble. I feel so blessed and so excited to have it, and I think it just makes the space. The way we designed this kitchen is I wanted it to be open, and I also wanted to feel like an unfit kitchen. Something that didn't feel completely traditional. I wanted almost to feel like pieces of furniture. And so we did this back section here, and then we did the island. We have no uppers in here. And we also did the trim at the bottom to make it feel like furniture. So you don't have that toe kick, which is usual for a kitchen. I kept it very simple in style. I wanted the rest of the space to kind of shine, but and the marble, of course. And so everything is just very, very sleek, simple. It's got great organization. I know that's usually one of the things I get on social media, is people asking me, well, you know, how do you make it work without uppers? And we really do. We have tons of storage here, and it works really, really well. So one of my favorite parts is this beautiful purple veining right here. It's like the most perfect. When I saw the slab, I was like, I just love that. So I love that touch of purple, and you get a little of the warmth in here too. It is honed, so we had it honed, which I also really love, because I love that matte finish to the stone, and it's just really beautiful. Up top here, I try to style it almost like a credenza or something. So I always have artwork. I wanted to kind of feel like a, piece of art to the kitchen. We have lamp lighting too. We have the sconces on the wall. And, I just love kind of decorating again with tons of vintage pieces and finds that just kind of bring that old world feel to our kitchen space. Some of the details when it comes to just kitchen cabinets, to make it feel extra special, we did exposed hinges, which I love, the unlacquered brass knobs, so those will kind of patina over time, which I really love. We also did all inset cabinetry, which again makes it feel more like furniture than a typical kitchen. And we just did like this like little beaded trim, and just those little touches go a long way. You can see overall the style is very simple, but it's those little details that really elevate it and make it interesting. And you might not capture that until I actually like sit here and point it out, and then you'll understand why this space kind of feels very special and without details that like hit you hard. So those are all the things that we designed here that I really love. So I think when it comes to this house, there's so many things I love about it. I think of course, it just being an older home and knowing that there's this hidden history that I'm just dying to know. I love the fact that there was so many families that had lived here prior to us, and I think that that's just so exciting. It's our very first old home we've ever lived in. So I think that just being still in our first year here, it just continues to excite me. But I love just like the details, like the moldings. You can't find that in new homes. You can't afford it if you're building a new home. So things like that. I love the windows in this house, the placement of the windows. I think for an older house too, it really, it is very bright. It has a really good flow to it. And those are the things that kind of just had us fall in love. And then I think if I had to choose like a favorite room in the house, it would probably be my living room or the kitchen. And the kitchen was the original dining room, and we turned it into the kitchen. And I think it's just got such a nice flow to both the patio and to the rest of the living space. So over here on this side of the island, I wanted it to look like, again, like a piece of furniture. So we designed it to have these open shelves at the bottom, and then we have these little shallow drawers. I have like, this has all my tea in it, and this is a junk drawer here, and I just love that. I have this vision that I'm collecting to get all vintage cookbooks, and I want to fill the entire top with vintage cookbooks, but this is all I got so far, so I'm working on it. It's a new favorite collection of mine, is to collect vintage cookbooks wherever I am, whether it's an estate sale or at a flea market. I love the look of vintage cookbooks. So on this side of the kitchen, it's a little different. We took this original niche, which was here from the house. They had just like a little console table here when it was the dining room. And I envisioned doing this very like Victorian English style tiles. And it's actually all just like ceramic 4x4s. And then we put these little nail heads inside here. I appreciate the patience of my carpenter who did all this. And I just love how it brings kind of that English Victorian feel. It feels very Downton Abbey, if you're familiar with this show. And I just love that little feature. I also thought it tied really well into the leaded glass window up top, those little nail heads. And this was one of our splurges for this house, but I felt like if we were gonna do a niche like this with the unfit style kitchen, we needed a beautiful large range. And this is the 60-inch LV, which is an Italian range, and it feels so perfect for this niche. It fits so beautifully inside. I love how it's still open on each side of it. It really gives that unfit feel. And behind it, let me show you this, because I'm sure we'll get questions. People ask all the time, well, how do you vent it? So we actually have this downdraft, and it just comes right up. Good little feature. It comes up and it hides away after, and it vents when we are cooking in here. Okay, so on this side of our kitchen, I love just the way the windows and the French doors go out to our patio. And I wanted a space that we could just sit and have coffee or tea. My kids eat breakfast from here sometimes. And so I got these vintage bentwood chairs, this bistro table, which I love keeping a tablecloth on it sometimes, and just kind of, styling it like we're in this little French cafe. It's fits here like so perfectly. I want to do probably some cushions on our radiator covers eventually. It's a future project. Hubby actually built these for me. So I wanted them to look like original shutters from an old Victorian house. And the wall was so blank, and I just love that this added that character, and I feel like you almost don't even know that it's not original. The cafe curtains were just the perfect little like soft touch to this window too, to give that soft lighting. And my favorite is definitely just being able to go outside when it's warm. This week was so beautiful out. We kept this open and we're grilling on the patio, and I just love how that just transitions just so well from our kitchen to the outside. Behind me here is the original built-ins. I think that this is definitely another favorite feature from this house. They were here as the dining room built-ins, and we use them as part of our kitchen storage. And so I love that this is part of our kitchen, but yet they're original and old. And, you know, we put these little locks on them and, you know, keep our everyday dishes and platters and stuff like that in here. I think when it comes to first-time DIYers, decorators, first-time homeowners or renters, if you are trying to both find your style and also just update, especially on a budget, every house we've done, we always have, you know, a pretty tight budget. I would say always start with paint. Paint goes a long way. I think updating your light fixtures is another huge update that instantly transforms the space. So those are the two things that I always recommend, especially if there's not a lot in the budget to work with. And then just keep collecting. I'm such a collector. I love shopping vintage, and that's just been something that really has helped me to style all the little vignettes and spaces in my house. And so much so that we started a vintage website called Vintage Keepers. It's a marketplace, and we just love being able to sell my own stuff through there, and also have vendors that have just a great style to sell through as well. So from the kitchen, we do have our pantry, which was the original kitchen. It's a combination room, so it's half pantry, half laundry room, but I'm not gonna show you the laundry room today because it's not quite finished. But this is the section that we turned into our pantry. So we had these built by our carpenter. I just love that it kind of created this hutch. It was actually an original like peninsula from the kitchen here. We knocked that all out and we did this, and it hides a lot. We have some more cabinets too in like our laundry room section that we put some like, you know, the not so pretty things like cereal boxes and stuff like that. This side I did a little punch of red, and it's our refrigerator and our coffee nook and all of that. Hides some of our appliances. We have our ice machine underneath here, and it just functions so well. I love having this space because it allows us not to have everything in the kitchen that you don't want to see every day. And it's so close to the kitchen that it functions just so well, just walking right through. One of the things I should definitely talk about is the floors in here. So these floors, being an old house, were very slopey, and we could not figure out a solution that was, you know, not incredibly expensive. So we put plywood down and we painted these Harlequin pattern on the plywood, and it's great and I love it, and it really kind of feels old world, but it's also was so cheap and easy. Well, I wouldn't say easy. My neck hurt for like about a week after, but it was definitely a great solution to buy some time until we can, you know, do tiles or something down the road. So from here we have our teeny tiny powder room. I mean, it's tight, but we made the most of this really tiny space. So we created this sweet little English cottage powder room. One of my favorite features is this little corner sink that we put in to save room. The little wooden toilet seat is a great detail in here. And we actually took out part of the tile wall and built this out because you literally couldn't even sit on the toilet. It was that tight. It was so tight. One of the best DIY tips that we did was we had the old original tiles behind here, and instead of demoing the whole thing, we just put this vertical shiplap right on top, and it made such a great solution and allowed us to be able to DIY this bathroom without hiring a professional. So I have been running a design blog for about 11 years now. It's called Seeking Lavender Lane. And it started from when we were searching for our very first home and the journey of just finding that house to our very first DIY projects and learning how to decorate. I have always had this passion for styling. I think trading spaces, just growing up with that, was kind of a big influence on my life. I then really fell in love with fashion. I went to school for fashion studies, and after graduating, I worked in the bridal industry for quite a while. And then from there, I started falling in love with just styling our first apartment to finding our first home. And so all of that kind of took off in my career, and I did that on the side for a really long time as a hobby blogger, and left working in the city and in bridal about 7 years ago. And so I just kind of fell in love with this. I feel like I'm still learning and growing, and I love each new house that we have lived in because it's really kind of exercised my craft, and I just really love interiors so much. All right, so there's a lot more house left, but I'm gonna show you just a little bit upstairs. We'll take you up to take a look at our primary bedroom and bathroom space. It's something that we have almost finished decorating, so I'm excited to show you guys. Okay, so right before I take you into the primary bedroom, I wanna talk to you a little bit about my hallway. And one of my favorite things that I have is this painting from my Uncle Dante, which my parents have tons of his art in their house, and this is one of the pieces they gave me, and I just love it. And I love kind of like where it pulls in the lady in red with the red rug here, and it's just a really special piece that I'm super thankful that I have in my house. Okay, so here is our primary bedroom. It's half the original room, and then there has been an addition put on from the previous owners. And we basically up here did a couple things. We refinished the floors because they were in pretty bad shape. We had somebody come in and do that professionally. We replaced the original plaster ceilings because they were completely cracked, and just had drywall put up. But we went for this really neutral. It was actually this blue color when we bought the house, and I just went for this neutral. Actually, this is also French canvas, my favorite new white color. And this is just a really soft feel. I kind of combined two styles in here. I feel like it's half like English cottage, but then it's also kind of, I call it Italian grandma style. And I love like just all of the like serene feels, but also some of like those vintage elements that really make it, feel very special. It's not too crowded. It's kind of a smaller space, just the bedroom. So we have a really simple bed. I did very simple bedding. And then I got this headboard off of Facebook Marketplace. Those two end tables are actually from my mom's cousin. She gave those to me. So those are a hand-me-down piece, and I love having pieces like that in my house. I think it just makes it feel extra special. And I believe they were her husband's grandmother. So really cool. I love the marble. I love how it just goes with our headboard. It almost feels like it was probably a set, and it wasn't. So this is the sitting room, which is off of our bedroom. And this was an addition that was done along with the sunroom that the previous owners did a couple decades ago. I love that they added this. I think it really expands the bedroom. It's actually not the biggest bedroom in the house until they did this. My daughter's bedroom, which I won't be showing today because it's not finished, but it is probably the prettiest room in the house. But this is such a great space, and I wanted to go really moody with it. So you'll see in a second, I did the sitting room really moody, and I did our bathroom really moody, and then kept the bedroom really bright. And this is just a beautiful, deep, dark brown tone. We had these original built-ins in here, and they were this like wood color, and I was kind of like, I don't feel like painting them. So you know what I'll do? I'll just make them hide, and I'll paint the whole room in this brown color, and you'll never see them. And I love like the way the light comes in with this moody tone. And this is just a great place that we like sit and hang out. And it's just a great additional space. We also have a lot of extra storage in here too, which is really, really great. I love this table. It was a hand-me-down piece, also another Uncle Dante's piece. And my mom gave it to me recently, and I was like, good, I need more furniture, I'll take it, and I love it. So another piece that I grew up with, it was always in my parents' house. And, you know, a couple things in here are not complete, but I love this rug. It brings in both texture and pattern in here. These were pillows that I had made. They were vintage tapestries, and I kind of like love that touch of equestrian feel. So I thought they fit in here really, really well. And I just thought those were really neat to be able to recycle a tapestry into a pillow. Some other things. So we do have a balcony off of here, which is great for in the summertime. But a couple other things is just like these shelves. I love, again, just displaying lots of vintage and all that kind of stuff. I love that it's moody, and so they just pop so nicely off of the moody backdrop. This was a great find. So I actually got this in a estate sale, and it was a really good price, and I loved it. I love that it came with the light too. And I didn't realize this, but it's Naples, Italy, and so my dad and my whole family are from Naples, and so I was like, oh my goodness, it's Naples, and I didn't even know when I bought it, so I think that's really cool. And I love kind of hanging it in front of this window too, so it kind of blocks out some of the light and gives it a little interest, because they're not my favorite windows. I probably would have picked a different style if I did this from scratch, but this is a great way to kind of like hide things that you don't exactly love. So I think when it comes to really making a home feel like yours and really come alive, I think it's just finding things that you truly love. It's something I'm always talking about in my own platform and my blog, is just really falling in love with the pieces that you add to your house. I think so many people feel like they need to fill their space with just something. I think that is just not tapping into yourself and your own taste. And so fall in love with everything that you put in your house. And that's kind of just what I've done. And I feel like my style changes a little bit over time, some trend influence and all of that. But I think that when you really decorate your house with pieces that you find that have a story to it, whether it's been handed down from family or it's just something that you just thought was super unique and you couldn't live without, I think those are the things that really elevate your space. And I'm always trying to find, like, I love a combination personally of like beautiful things and then also something quirky. Okay, and the other side of our bedroom is our primary bath. This was the original sitting room in this space. I think actually it was the original dressing room. And they had original built-ins on this side. Unfortunately, 2 weeks after we closed on the house last April, there was a leak from an upstairs bathroom, and a lot of it got destroyed. The entire original built-ins got destroyed. The part of the floors got destroyed. Thankful that we had insurance and we were able to fix things. But I was sad that we lost some of the original built-ins. And so when I designed this space, the bathroom's above us, and I thought, wow, like we can now make this a bathroom, because if we had to take all the ceilings out and all this stuff, and the plumbing was pretty easy to be able to address in here. And so I wanted this kind of to feel like an original built-in to just to replace what was here. And so we had a carpenter do all of this, and it's just so beautiful. I love the combination of both the wood with the porcelain backdrop of the shower. I wanted it to feel like a dressing room still, so like this was kind of hidden, and that all you would really see in the space is this floating tub when you're looking into the room. And then once you come in, then you have your sinks here, which we did, and it's just it's kind of hidden, but I also love that it almost kind of feels vintage in a sense. I keep calling the style in here updated Victorian. I feel like if we did Victorian today, this is kind of how it would feel. The moody wallpaper, I love these black tiles. They're just really stunning. And just having these floating pedestal sinks is a great feature. So probably thinking, well, where do you hide all the things? Well, we have these drawers that we had our carpenter make. So they do push in on this wall. And then we have shelving inside. This is our toilet room. I won't necessarily show you the shelving because it's probably not super neat, but this is our toilet room, which is hidden, which is kind of great. Inside the shower, I'll show you, we did this porcelain slab, which is a lot less expensive than marble or anything else. It was actually, we had it cut in twos to save on the install. It was almost half the price. So if you're wanting to do a slab, cut it in half. You barely could see the seam in between. It was a great, just a great way to be able to get this and do it on, a little less expensive than doing a full slab. And then we did this checkerboard pattern on the floor here. And I just kind of love in here doing that like mix of patterns, having both the black and white and then the large scale veining and then this large scale floral pattern on the walls. We have a couple more things I want to still do in here. I've been on the hunt for some curtains and things like that, but it certainly looks completely different than what it looked like before. It was a blue sitting room with a TV in the corner, and I think if the previous owners came back, they'd be quite surprised at what it looks like now. But I feel super thankful because the original bathroom, which is now our closet, was super teeny tiny, and if it wasn't for the leak upstairs, we probably would have never done this. But once the ceilings came down and everything, it only made sense to kind of make this bigger space our primary bath. So in the middle of the room, I decided to do this floating tub. Believe it or not, I actually haven't used the tub yet. So one of these days when I'm not busy, I'll actually get in this tub. But I love that it's in the middle of the room. It becomes this feature. We also did this mirror. It's a vintage mirror. It didn't have any backing to hang it. And so I took this and kind of made it feel like a bathtub tray. And it's another great way to kind of like keep my everyday items like perfumes and Q-tips and stuff like that out and about, but kind of also styled. And then above here, I really wanted a vintage fixture and I could not find one that worked, and like, we were in the electrician's time frame and stuff, and so I just ordered this one from Overstock, and honestly I just love it. It like really fills the room so beautifully. It gives it that kind of glamorous touch, and I think it just like really finishes the space really, really nicely. We did this little room divider here too, which I really like. I bought this for my friend, and it is just like the perfect little touch to, especially because you have a floating tub, so I kind of feel like it looks like, you can have some privacy with this, but it's also really pretty. And then over here, I guess I could show you this side too. This is, again, just adding more portraits and vintage, my favorites. And this cute little bamboo cabinet I just love. I bought it from one of my vendors on Vintage Keepers, and she buys a lot of her stuff in France. And it's just the sweetest little piece. My husband stores some of his like everyday stuff in here. And I just love the way it looked with the wallpaper, and of course that it's French. So I love that. Home is, for me, a place that is just restful. I probably became a homebody more than I ever thought I would be. And so I love styling my house to a way that I'd never want to leave. And I love being here with my family, and we try to make every day special. We romanticize the everyday. So whether that's, decorating with candles, so it just has such a mood. We love doing, pick food and cheese boards, and putting music on, and just loving our home as a family. And so I think that home is just a place of rest and your sanctuary.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.